Hi guys. After a break of exactly one webinar, we are back with data insights, MSR to be more specific, because I guess you guys want to just discuss MSR. It has been, very difficult for you guys to understand, to do problems, etc. We're getting feedback that you're still not comfortable with MSR. So that is why we thought that might as well then go back and discuss some more MSR questions. Yeah. Timing has been a big issue for many of you. I have already said that give a good 7 to 8 minutes for the three questions of MSR. Do not worry about it. You'll feel more at ease, and then you will be able to navigate it with a calmer mind in case you know that you have time. Yeah. But then there is some feedback which says that even that time is not sufficient and you end up falling short. So then in case that is happening, I think you're spending way too much time on reading the tabs in the beginning. Yeah. The idea is to, let's say, take about a couple of minutes to understand what the tabs have given. And then you have about 2 minutes for each question. And that is enough time. Yeah. Now, don't think of the tabs as critical reasoning. A lot of you are perhaps spending too much time reading every word that is given in each tab. That is not what is required. Yeah, this is not a critical reasoning question. It's a data insights question. So it is closer to, let's say, a graphical interpretation or a table analysis kind of a question. So there is going to be data which is going to be useless in the tabs as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the text very properly. We're going to read every word of the text given to us, but then there's going to be some data component. Yeah, for example, there might be a table. Now, in a table analysis question, you do not look at every table point, isn't it? You don't evaluate everything. You go to the questions, you see what you need to evaluate, and then you come back to those data points. And that's exactly what you have to do for MSR as well. In case it's a graphical interpretation question, you do not go and evaluate every point that, okay, at this point, when X is this, Y is that, right? We don't do that. When we come across a question based on that particular point, that's when we go back to it. So then do keep in mind that you have to do something very similar for MSR also. You have to understand exactly what is given, exactly how the tabs are related to each other, but the content, the data, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, you can just skip through it. When you come to a question specifically testing that particular data point, that is when you come back to it. Yeah. And as I've said before, normally the questions of MSR are not tough, guys. It is the fact that it is given in this format, there's a lot of data, there are tabs, you can't see all the data together, etc. That is what makes it difficult. The questions are usually fairly straightforward, especially if you have some time. If you can keep a calm mind, then they're not difficult at all. Yeah. So let's discuss a couple of MSR sets today. Yeah, I'll share my screen with you now. All right, so this is the first set that we are going to do. I'll pull it down a little bit for the time being. Yeah, and let's evaluate it together. And then you can try the question on your own once we have evaluated the set. And I'm going to talk about exactly how much time you should spend on the two tabs, exactly how you are going to evaluate the tabs. Yeah, look, the answer will be available to you online also in books. So don't worry about solving the question. That is not what you're going to take back from here. Yeah, from the webinar, take back, take with you exactly how to solve a question like this so that you can replicate it in other questions as well. Yeah. All right. So let's look at what data has been given to us. Maly, Simon, and Yemmy have just arrived at the, okay, even before we start, do remember, like, these are two tabs. This is my tab 1 and this is my tab 2. And again, for our ease over here, just so that we, for the presentation, we have put both the data, both the tabs side by side, doesn't matter. And before we start reading an MSR question, the moment we see that it is an MSR question, the first 10 seconds, what do we have to do? We have to switch the tabs. We have to see what kind of data is there in each tab. Yeah. So I see that, okay, there is some kind of text over here, some plan, okay, whatever it is. And I switch my tab and I see, all right, there is some table over here with some trail, some lengths, difficulty, scenery, fine. And then there is a map given to me. All right. So then I go back to my tab one. Now I'm going to start reading what the tab tells me. Yeah. Okay, so Maly, Simon, and Yemmy have just arrived at the Ocean Cliff Park picnic area. So talking about some picnic area. So, the map that is given to me might be about that particular picnic area. Now, they each plan to spend the day hiking only on trails and then return to the picnic area. So the idea is they have come to the picnic area. They'll spend the day hiking only on trails and then they'll come back to the picnic area. Each may hike separately from the others. They will make their determinations about hiking time, trail difficulty, and level of scenery according to the information in the park's brochure. So there'll be, data given to me, and most likely what I have on tab 2 is the data from the park's brochure. Yeah, because we saw there was something about trail, scenic, blah, blah, right? So most likely that is what it is. Fine. Now their individual plans are as follows. And I see Maly's plan to hike one or more trail or trail section with a difficulty rating of high. Now, the moment I read this and then I go ahead, I see there is a Maly's plan, there is a Simon's plan, there's a Yemmy's plan, and there are a couple of points, 1 or 2 points for each one of them. So what is this going to be? This is going to tell me exactly what kind of trails are they going to, go to, depending on the parameters of the trail, how they're going to choose, whether it'll be time or difficulty or scenic or something like that. Whatever it may be, I know that this is data, right? And this is not going to help me understand the rest of the question. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to say, fine, I have plan of all these 3 people. Let me move on. The specifics, I don't even need to read at this time. Look, it is data. It is like when I'm going to read this particular table, am I going to read trail A, length 1, hiking time 0.25, difficulty low, scenery 1 star, whatever it means, trail B. I'm not going to do that, right? So then why am I going to read each one of these points? This is also just data, fine. Okay, now next, in as much as doing so is compatible with each person's plan, so the plan, each person's plan is right here. Each wants to hike to as many of these 4 scenic features today as possible. So Heath Hill, Shrub Hill, Surf Beach, and Whale Point. If I would want to, maybe I would just write down on my scratch pad, all right, so Heath Hill and Shrub Hill and Surf Beach and Whale Point, and hopefully the same initials will not be repeated. The other places will not have the same initials, but in case I want to. Otherwise, I know that I've been given these 4 places that they would want to cover, and if required, I can come back to see what those 4 places are, because anyway there is enough data. I will need to switch between the tabs, so then there's no point, right? Now, let's go on to tab 2. The table and map are excerpted from the Ocean Cliff Park brochure. The table lists the characteristics of the park's main hiking trails. So I have these trails given to me, and the more asterisks that are under scenery, the more scenic the trail. So I see that this one has 1. So more means more scenic, which means that this is the best, it is the most scenic, this is the best, most scenic, and this is the lowest, right? So least scenic, right? And I have length in kilometers of the trail and hiking time, the time it takes to hike, and the difficulty of the trail, whether it is low, medium, or high. All right. Now, there is this one cross here, medium through the section, through whatever. So basically, there is some data given to me in the table, and all I want to do is I want to see the rows, that what do the rows give me? They are the various trails. And what do the headings give me? The column headings, they give me length and time and difficulty and scenery. Fine, doesn't matter. I can now move on. I know that I have been given a lot of characteristics of the various trails. Yeah. Now, the map shows the park's hiking trails. Now, here is the map. The connected trails are not considered sections of main trails. All right. Now, just for our convenience right now, I'm going to zoom in on the map a little bit. Again, we don't need to do that while we are just evaluating the question. But yeah, this is what the map looks like. I see there is a picnic area over here. Then these are the various points. And if I remember, there was this Whale Point which they wanted to visit, and some HH Heath Hill perhaps, and then something, something. And then these are the various trails. I have the legend here. It says trail A. So where is trail A here? So I have the letter also along with the trail, the color. Fine. So basically my map gives me how the various trails are placed in that particular location. Okay. Now this is all. Yeah, this is all I need to do. I just need to understand the data given to me and nothing else. I don't have to focus on the data, exactly what is given to me. Yeah. Okay, now I'll give you a minute. Try out the question on your own. Let me know. I hope you can see the question and the data as well. If there are any issues, the Q&A is enabled. Let me know. Based on the information provided for each of the following scenic features, so these are the scenic features. Select yes if starting at the picnic area and hiking along only main trails to that feature would be compatible with Yemmy's plan as it is described. Otherwise, select no. So we have to select yes or no for these features, these particular three features, whether they are compatible with Yemmy's plan, whether Yemmy can visit. Yeah. All right. Now, Yemmy's plan is to avoid the trail with the lowest scenery rating and each trail or trail section with a high difficulty rating. So the lowest scenery rating is trail A. Yeah. And the highest difficulty. Now I'm going to look at the difficulty level. I know that trail F has highest difficulty. So this one. And then I also see that here I'm not given trail B's difficulty. It says medium, though the section through Red Gorge is high. So I have the Red Gorge. Do I see that over here, right? This one. Now, here is my trail B. This is my trail B, this one, the orange one, right? The bright orange one. It passes through the Red Gorge, and they say that this is the difficult part over here. This is the difficult part. Otherwise, the rest of the trail is medium. All right. Now, she wants to avoid. So what she'll avoid is she wants to avoid the trail A. She wants to avoid the trail B, that Red Gorge path, right? Other things may be acceptable. And she wants to avoid trail F. Okay. So Crown Cliff. Now on the map, I'm going to look for Crown Cliff. I see that Crown Cliff is right here. So can she visit the Crown Cliff? Certainly, she can take this particular trail, right? The trail D over here, this one. Crown Cliff is right over here. She can go on D and come back. She doesn't need to avoid D. Neither is it very low in scenery, nor is it difficult, right? High difficulty. So certainly this Crown Cliff is possible. This is fine, right? Okay, how about Spring Grove? Will she be able to go to Spring Grove? Where is Spring Grove? So here I see Spring Grove. She'll need to go to, on the trail A for that. But trail A she's avoiding because it's not scenic, right? So then this is not compatible with her plan, right? Now, Stormy Bay Beach. So where is Stormy Bay Beach? It's right over here, all right. Now, look at this, and I'm going to again zoom in on the map a little bit for you, just for you to see what it is like. So here is my Stormy Bay Beach. So here is Stormy Bay Beach. Now, how is she going to, of course, they're starting from the picnic area, right? And they're going to come back to the picnic area. So how is she wants to avoid these particular trails, A and this part of B and F. Yeah, she wants to go to Stormy Bay Beach. Fine. So then one way is she takes this D, E, and then F, but she wants to avoid F because it is high difficulty. Then this is not possible. What other, and this is also F only, right? So anyway, she doesn't want to go on F. Now, what other trail leads to Stormy Bay Beach? That is only then this G trail. Yeah, I see this solid blue line, only this one. Now, this, how is it connected to my picnic area? Because she's going to start from the picnic area. Note that whatever is the connection of this picnic area to these trails, through this connector trail, this brown one is the connector trail. All this connection is through the high difficulty passage, right? There is no other connection from the picnic area wherever I could take the A or the B or the C, but everything, there is only one trail which connects everything, and that goes through this high difficulty area. And this is what she wants to avoid, which means that there is no way, for her to reach the Stormy Bay beach until and unless she's ready to take the difficult part of the trail as well. Yeah, so it is not compatible with her plan. So then I know that Stormy Bay Beach is also not compatible with her plan. Just how hard is it to say Stormy Bay Beach? Okay, so this is also not compatible. Yeah, so our answer over here is yes, no, no. Are we good with this? Look, we did not, yeah, right. Quite a few of you've got the answers. That's great. Do you see that we don't really need to go through Maly's plan and Simon's plan and Yemmy's plan while we are going through the tabs, yeah? Learn to identify what data is going to help you understand what the tabs have given and what is just data, a standalone piece of information to which you can come back in case you require to, right? Okay, let's look at the next question now. I hope it's visible. Suppose that each of the following statements describes information that is included in the brochure. So there are statements and they're a part of the brochure now. Based on the given information for each of the following, select needs to consider if it describes information that Simon likely needs to consider. So where is Simon? Here is Simon. In determining whether he could use the connector trail between Heath Hill and Trail B. So let's go to the map and check where is Heath Hill and Trail B. I know this is the Trail B, the orange one, bright orange one. And here is my Heath Hill. So this is the connector. This thing is the connector between my Trail B and Heath Hill, yeah? So I have to find out whether Simon needs to consider this, these statements or not. In determining whether he could use this connector trail between Heath Hill and Trail B to hike from the picnic area to Heath Hill and back without conflicting with his plan and as described. Otherwise, select does not need to consider. So he wants to go from the picnic area, of course, to Heath Hill and then back. And the point is, can he use this particular connector trail, this particular brown trail? Based on each one of these statements, we have to see whether these statements, they need to be considered or not. Look, our question here is, do I need this data to answer? Yeah, it is whether the data is required to get to the answer. It is not what is the answer. Whether he can reach Heath Hill or something is not the answer. It is whether this data will be necessary for me to do my calculations to find out whether he can go to Heath Hill or not, right? So Simon's plan, what does Simon's plan say? It says to take at least 2 hikes of no more than 4 hours each. So Simon wants to take, the timing of the hike should be not more than 4 hours and at least 2. To begin and end each hike at the picnic area. Anyway, that is, true for everyone. We're saying that they're going to start from the picnic area and then I'm given that he'll go back, right? Okay, now let's look at the statements given to me. The hiking time from picnic area along Trail B to the intersection with the connected trail to Heath Hill is 1.5 hours. So I'm given that time taken to reach this particular point from the picnic area. This is 1.5 hours. Now, keep in mind that Simon is going to consider the time, right? Because he does not want the hike to be for more than 2 hours, more than 4 hours each, which means that this is something which is going to interest him. This particular data is going to be important to him. Look, whether the spot or the trail is scenic or not, for example, is not important to Simon's plan, yeah? But it is important to Yemmy's plan, right? Lowest scenery. So here, if data is about timing, then I know that it is a relevant piece of information, yeah? So this, of course, he does need to consider because it's about time and he wants to ensure that it doesn't take more than 4 hours. Look at this. The connected trail from Heath Hill to Trail B, this has a scenery rating of 1 asterisk. So just as we said that scenic how scenic it is irrelevant to Simon, right? So then he does not need to consider this. Okay, now the connected trail from Heathel has a hiking time of 0.75 hours. So my statement one told me the time taken from here till here. And now this is telling me the hiking time taken for this connected trail, and it is relevant to Simon. Again, this is going to get added to the time taken by him to reach from here till here, right? Because he has issues with the time thing. So then this also we need to consider. Now, I don't have to worry. I don't have to add up. I don't have to think about, oh, does it, will he be able to reach Heath Hill or not? That's none of my business. All I have to see, this is relevant to time. This is relevant to Simon's plan. Then I do need to consider it. And that's it. And then I'm going to move on. Yeah. We end up spending too much time on data insights questions because we end up spending time on things that we don't really need to do. Yeah. If you remember that car show question, there also I told you how it was just so simple to get to the answer, but people get stuck there and spend so much time. Why? Because they're trying to do calculations that are not required. Yeah, it is about the whether the data is required or not to answer. It is not about what is the answer. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Suppose a sign at the picnic area informs the hikers that park officials have closed the section of Trail B through Red Gorge. So this thing has been closed. We have been given that this is not there, right? This is closed. This connection is not there. Given this and based on the information provided, which one of the following statements is correct? Okay. Maly will be unable to hike to Surf Beach and back to the picnic area without hiking the same trail or trail section twice. So Maly, yeah, and to Surf Beach. First of all, where is my Surf Beach? Okay, here is Surf Beach. And what is the what is given to me about Maly's plan? To hike one or more trail or trail section with a difficulty rating of high and not to hike any trail or trail section twice. So Maly doesn't want to hike any trail section twice or trail, and she does want to hike, take one difficulty rating of high. Now, is it, which of the following statements is correct? If this connection is not there, is it true that Maly will be unable to hike to Surf Beach and back without hiking the same trail or trail section twice? Now, Maly is going to start from the picnic area, right? So from here, she's going to start. Now, note, what happens when I close this particular connection? Look at the map for a moment. Look, so I have all these trails over here, right? They are disconnected from this part of the map. Do we see that? They are connected, this entire part, the picnic area, and this entire part is connected to this part of the map now only through this trail DE part. Yeah, I have this, which I can go from here, and that is how I can go to this part, because nothing else, you see, there is no connected trails, there is nothing else. I have to go from here to this part or from here to this part. Yeah, the only connection left to me is from DE and then on to the Surf Beach. Yeah, so then now Maly, she doesn't want to cross the same section twice, but if she wants to go to Surf Beach, how will she go? Can she take one of these trails? No, because this is all blocked out. There is nowhere to go after this. So she has to take this DE trail. Then she'll be able to go to Surf Beach. Yeah, the trail F is is a high difficulty. So, good for her. She'll be able to do that high difficulty one. But then when she's coming back, let's say that she doesn't come back through this. She takes this, she takes this, she takes this. Fine, she takes this, she takes this, whatever. Even if she doesn't take the F trail at all, she will still need to come back through D and E only. This is the only connection left to this part of the map. Do I see that? Yeah, because there were only two connections. One was this particular trail, and then the other was this particular trail. Now, since this has been closed down, now there's only one connection left, which means if she goes to Surf Beach, she will need to at least go through this particular area twice, this particular trail twice, right? Even if she doesn't touch F again at all, doesn't matter. Right? So that is why this is accurate. This is true. And guys, you can take like an extra 30 seconds to ensure that what you have found is true. And if you get the correct answer, do I see over here that this talks about Maly, then it talks about Simon and Yemmy and Maly and Yemmy. And you know what? I'm going to be spending a whole lot of time going through their plan once again. And I'm sure that by the time I come back from Maly, I come back to Maly again, I would have forgotten what it was specific about Maly, of course. So then I'll have to read Maly's plan once again. So in a question like this, ensure that what you're thinking is absolutely correct. Even if you have to put those extra 15 seconds, it doesn't matter. But then, you might as well move on once you get your answer, in case, you're short on time. Of course, if you have plenty of time, if you're very comfortable with it, of course, it's best to, go through each option and ensure that each option is incorrect. Sometimes we just might be missing something small. I totally agree with that. But in case you don't have time, then once you get, because I see that, the rest of the question is going to take time, right? So fine. Okay. So essentially, I know that this is my answer. This is accurate, but then, we can just take a look at all the other options as well. Simon will be unable to take 2 hikes of no more than 4 hours each. So they're saying Simon will not be able to take 2 hikes of no more than 4 hours means some smaller hikes. Yeah, just that he will not be able to take essentially they're saying that Simon's time for the hikes will go more than 4 hours perhaps, or he'll not be able to take 2 of such hikes. Maybe he'll be able to take 1 of these hikes. So what is given to me about Simon? To take at least 2 hikes of no more than 4 hours each. This was what his plan was. They're saying that his plan will not be possible, and to begin and end each hike at the picnic area. Anyway, we know that that is true. So now the point is that, is it that his plan will not be possible? Can he not take 2 trails to, of less than 4 hours each? Look, the timing has been given to me over here, and I see that let's say if he's starting from the picnic area, and since he doesn't want to spend too much time, I'm going to look for some short trails around, and maybe if I'm able to spot 2 trails that he can take, then that's enough. So I see that he can take the trail A because a hiking time is just 0.25 hours and he has 4 hours. So that is one which is certainly possible. Yeah, then I can see that over here, I have this trail C that he can take as well, right? Going from and he can come back on trail C. Do you understand? It's not in Simon's plan that he should not be going on the same trail twice. He could certainly go on C and come back on C as well. And the time taken over here is just 1 hour. So then it's, Simon will be able to take 2 hikes of no more than 4 hours each. It is certainly possible for him. So then this is not accurate. Yeah, this is not correct. This Yemmy will be unable to hike without taking the trail with the lowest scenery rating. Now, Yemmy's plan is to avoid the trail with the lowest scenery rating and each trail or trail section with a high difficulty rating. So they're saying that Yemmy will be unable to hike without taking the trail. So they're saying that Yemmy will have to take a lowest scenery trail. Now, lowest scenery trail is what? It is A. We saw that there is only one lowest scenery trail. Do you see? Yeah, this one, it is A, and this is the only thing that she wants to avoid. It is given to us the lowest scenery, not low, right? Lowest scenery. So she just wants to avoid A. Now, just because if this section is closed, is it that she will not be able to, she'll need to take a difficult trail, for example? Is it that she'll not be able to? Well, she can, right? She can take C. She has to only avoid A. She can, take other trails as well. There is anyway, and I'm not given that she must take 2 trails or 3 trails, right? So I can certainly see that one of the trails that she can take is certainly C. So there is no such issue. She will be able to take a trail, yeah. And she doesn't necessarily need to take the lowest scenery trail. So obviously this is also not correct. This also doesn't need to be true. Now, Maly will be unable to hike on any difficult trails or trail sections. We are given that Maly will not be able to. What was it about Maly? As I said, I would have forgotten by the time I come back to Maly. That to hike one or more trail or trail section with difficult rating and not to hike any trail or trail section twice. So they're saying Maly will be unable to hike on any difficult trails or trail sections. Now, we discussed before that Maly will be able to hike on, for example, Maly will be able to hike on C. Now, this option could get a little confusing, but then look at this. We are given on any difficult trails, yeah, or trail sections. What does this mean? What do I infer from what is a difficult trail? Now, I'm sure that high difficulty level is a difficult trail. What about medium difficulty level? I know that low difficulty would not be called a difficult trail, but then they haven't specified that, hard difficult, right? That how difficult is it? Hard, right? High difficulty. Look at this. Everywhere they have given with a high difficulty. They have not given that here. They have not specified that Maly will be unable to hike on any high difficulty trails or trail sections. They have said on any difficult trails or trail sections, guys, and be very careful about every word that is given to you, because immediately, you might think that they're talking about high difficulty trails, but that is not correct. They're saying any difficult trails. Even medium difficulty trails could be called difficult trails. I don't know what they mean by difficult trails. I don't know which of the medium trails are, for example, difficult trails, right? So then for sure, there's nothing that I can say about this particular statement as well, right? Do you understand that? Okay. The last one, Yemmy will be unable to hike without taking at least one trail or trail section with a high difficulty rating. What about Yemmy to avoid the trail with the lowest scenery rating and each trail or trail section with the high difficulty rating? So they are saying that Yemmy will be unable to hike without taking the one trail with the high difficulty, but that is not true, right? Yemmy could very well go on, for example, D, and on E. These are not high difficulty trails, right? Yeah. Or Yemi could certainly go on C, come back through B. These are not high difficulty. We know that high difficulty trails are only this section, which anyway has been closed down, and this F trail. So Yemi doesn't need to go on the F, and this is anyway closed down, right? So Yemi can hike without taking the high difficulty trail. So this is also not correct. So of course, then our answer is only A. This is the correct option. But spending this much time looking at every option is perhaps not going to be possible during the actual exam, and I agree with you. When each statement is about a different person, I'll have to go back, look at the data of each statement, then come back to my map, and it really doesn't really work out. So as soon as I'm able to get my answer here, I just take some extra time to ensure that it seems to be correct. Is it actually correct? Once I establish it is correct, I just mark it and move on. Yeah. Any doubts?